Hey everyone, this is Ivo M. McLean for live once again, and I am back for more Wesley Snipes movie reviews. Today I'm gonna talk about and review is Unstoppable, which is 2004 direct-to-video flick, and this is actually one of Wesley Snipes' first direct-to-video movies. If you check his filmography, you see that most of the movies that he did were hit. They were actually in movie theaters and they were all hit. But the last movie that was showed in movie theater was The Expendables 3. So this was actually a direct-to-video movie, and it was actually his first direct-to-video movie that he did. This was also filmed before Blade Trinity. Before Wesley Snipes did Blade Trinity was actually filmed. Um, and of course he signed a contract for making the third Blade movie, but this was actually his first direct-to-video movie, and many of the people shit on this film. They say it's lame, it's cheesy or corny, or I don't know. I did not even read the rest of the comments. There is only one person that I found on YouTube that reviewed. But in my opinion, this is just my opinion, I would say one of Wesley Snipes' best films for direct-to-video movies. Not one of his best films that he did, because there are other action films that I actually enjoy, like Blade 1, Blade 2, Demolition Man, right there. But but for direct-to-video, I have to say definitely one of his best films. So that it won't be confusion, this is not a Denzel Washington movie with a runaway train, Unstoppable. This is Wesley Snipes review. So yeah, it's a Wesley Snipes review, and this movie was actually titled Nine Lives, but they changed it to Unstoppable, and they released this movie on direct to DVD, and I do here once again with Wesley Snipes and King Coast behind him, Unstoppable. And like I said, I really enjoyed this film. I remember seeing this movie. I think was back in 2006. I saw this movie back in 2006, and I actually downloaded that time the film because I was interested, especially because the name Dean Cage is a badass character, badass name that they actually made. And this came out in October 30, 2004. And I really have enjoyed this film. So Wesley Snipes stars as Dean Cage, former U.S. Army soldier, Special Forces, who has PTSD, just like John Rambo, and he's now back from service. He was serving during the war time in Bosnia. He and his platoon were all caught up. His best friend, Scott, they both were actually tortured because all his unit by the enemy was tortured and killed, and they both stay alive. And Dean Cage was the only one that survived that time. All his men, including his best friend, were killed in the war. Now he lives peaceful life in Baltimore with his girlfriend. She's a police detective, Amy Knight. She's a sister of Scott, his best friend. So he goes to this diner to meet his best friend because because in the meeting for the army vets, it did not work well, and he goes to this diner. During the time in the diner, he met this group of drug dealers. There are actually this group of drug dealers who are mistaken Dean Cage for a mole who tries to who's actually informant for the FBI and CIA, and they think that's Dean Cage, that he is for he's informer for he's actually informer for CIA, and they go and they attack Dean Cage, and they actually have this powerful drug, a hallucinogen drug, and one of the one of the dealers wants the information what the CIA knows about them, so he goes and shots him the drug, which makes him starts hallucination, and he sees which makes this this hallucinogens and hallucinations. He sees he thinks he's back now in Bosnia in this hell camp. He's been tortured, and this man he goes and defends himself, and he breaks his attacker's nose, but still he gets captured and kidnapped and sent to this hospital, to this psychiatric hospital, which these people who invented a powerful hallucinogen drug, they want to know information from Dean Cage because they're sure he's the right man. In the meantime, Detective Amy Knight shows up and finds out that Dean Cage is now captured and kidnapped, and they arrest this man because there actually was a disturbing fight in the diner, and she wants to know, what's going on. What did he do to Dean Cage? Because he's nowhere to find, and what happened next is on the police station, the guy, McNabb, he doesn't want to talk, but when two guys who claims to be FBI, a man and a woman, that actually spooks CIA, they claim they're FBI. He wants to talk to Detective Amy Knight, but she actually, the right time, a woman shows up and starts shooting, and she kills McNabb, and she hits the other actress, Agent Kennedy, played by Kim Thompson. She hits in the leg Agent Kennedy, played by Kim Thompson, in the leg. She gets shot, and of course her partner goes and shoots the woman. And that's later we find out that that's not only a very powerful hallucinogen drug, but you can also turn everyone into a serial killer. And that's what these people play. Who's Sullivan? He's actually a powerful drug dealer. He went and he injected this woman with Exine, with this hallucinogen drug, and he turned her into a serial killer by convincing her that this man who showed her picture, killed her husband and her son, and that's what this powerful drug does. It makes turn people into crazy. And Dean Cage, while he's tortured, he sees ghosts from the past. His best friend Scott, that he's been tortured, and he's been this camp, and he goes and somehow he managed to escape. And while he climbs in the elevator shafts, he climbs on the ceiling, and of course while those two men who are hunting him down, one of them says that his whole building's on fire, he's on fire, and he starts believing that that's really happening. He starts believing that he's on fire, that his legs are on fire, but of course it wasn't. And he also uses that water, I think was the fire hose. He opens that fire, the fire sprinklers, and all the water of those two idiots goes and drops down. I was laughing my ass off in the film. But yeah, didn't manage to escape. And there's another scene which I know that this budget was $20 million, but worldwide made only $1 million. But there's a stuntman that grabs himself with a rope, just like John McClane, and jumps off the window with a rope, tied with a rope, and he lands. That's a cool stuntman. I don't think that was Wesley Snipes, but lands on the floor in this hospital. and this guy, this security, this doorman shows up with a gun, and Wesley Snipes, he sees Amy, which is the love of his life, and the guy tries to shoot them, and he goes with a gun and shoots them. He shoots the guy and he escapes, and now he's running through the forest, and he tries to escape. And of course, Kim Coast and Mark Shepard, they both hunting him down, and he's like goes in this oil truck. He goes in this I think it was a gas truck. He goes to the gas truck, and they try to shoot him, but because they're afraid it's gonna the one shot is gonna cause explosion, so they go with a powerful rifle sniper. And they from the long distance, they Kim Coast fires and shoots the guy. He goes and shoots the driver. The driver lands off the bridge, and he shoots once again, and there's a huge explosion, and of course Wesley Snipes climbs the ladder and he escapes, and whole truck falls down with explosion, which is a badass scene. And Wesley Snipes then, of course, escapes to Amy Knight's apartment to get an answer because he's looking for her. And in the meantime, Agent Junot, played by Advil Akinuyub Ajibe, Agent Junot, he also wants the vaccine for this powerful drug, and because Detective Amy Knight, she goes in the ambulance, and she interrogates Agent Kennedy, which tells her what's going on, and she's not, and of course Agent Junot, that's of course Agent Junot. He's not on her side at first, but then he is actually on her side, and it's kind of surprised because he says he's FBI, but yet he's CIA, which is kind of surprised. But on the end, Amy finds Dean. She finds Dean, and she decides to help him out. And because they needed this vaccine, because Sullivan has. So they make a plan. They go to the hangar to this warehouse in which Sullivan, he makes his last deal for the lots of money. He sells the powerful drug, and of course Wesley Snipes goes back to the hospital. And like I said, he opens the fire hose and makes that all the sprinklers starts making, opens the water with sprinklers. He starts saving everyone. He thinks they are actually military prisoners. They're actually her hospital staff, but he saved them, which I thought that character played by Wesley Snipes was actually very decent written. And he goes back to them, and of course he goes back. And he tells that he didn't tell anyone, about the meetings. So of course, Peterson, Leach, they try to kill Wesley Snipes. The time Amy Knight shows up, and of course, Leach grabs a gun, Glock, and starts shooting at Amy Knight. Amy goes, shoots him, kills him. Kim Coast Peterson escapes. He goes and he escapes to the hangar. And now Amy and Dean, they're driving, and this is a badass because there's a helicopter in the hangar, and Dean runs himself. He goes and he runs himself like a badass. He goes and he fights off. Peterson kills him on the end, and of course he uses that rope, and Hansen says this is for Scott. I forget to mention scene where he's interrogated by Peterson Leach. You see the scene that they actually, the enemy imposter throw gasoline on his friend because he was so afraid of the fire. Dean Cage convinced his best friend, that he stepped forward, in which he hanged himself, and that's why he gets revenge, and he fights off Kim Coast, and goes and hangs him over, throws him, and says it's for Scott, and then he uses with a sniper rifle, and he fires, on the contact, and he fires. There's in the helicopter, there's a guy, FBI storms them, and the guy in helicopter uses that mini machine gun, just like in Predator and Terminator, machine gun, and starts firing, moving everyone out. And Wesley Snipes goes closer with his sniper rifle, shoots the guy right. He shoots and fires the guy, kills the guy right, I think was in the neck. He shoots him, and another time he fires the helicopter. Whole helicopter explodes. But it looks like practical effect explodes, and on the end, he can defeat Sullivan, and he throws, because he's looking for antidote, and Sullivan throws him with all the pills. So he grabs that pill for the hallucinogenic scene in the gun, and throws, Amy goes in and puts the guy right in the neck. Sullivan, he falls down, and she goes, lies with him. And that time he finds the antidote, tries to put in the gun, and then he tries to shoot both of them, and Wesley Snipes grabs the gun and shoots the guy with the Glock and shoots him. And Amy goes and puts him she goes and she puts the antidote into Dean Cage, and Dean Cage in the end survives. And I like that Agent June is not a bad guy in the end. You think that he's a bad guy because he finds, in Amy's apartment, Dean Cage, and he tries to he goes and he tries to interrogate him, but it does not work. It just does not work. And that time Amy shows up, and she makes sure that they both surrender, which I love that. But I love that he found out, the mole was actually Agent June. He was the mole who actually was feeding information, about these drug dealers. I call them drug dealers. But yeah, the cast, Wesley Snipes still did a decent performance, as Dean Cage. Like I said, in my opinion, this is actually his best direct-to-video movies, because next direct-to-video movies were not that good as this movie, but still entertaining, good movie. In my opinion, it's fast-paced, only 1 hour 36 minutes, but on DVD it's 1 hour 32 minutes. This was shot in 42 days, from March 2nd and April 13, 2003, was released only DVD. And this is actually his first direct-to-video movie he did that came straight to DVD. This was before even Blade Trinity was filmed and released. But Blade Trinity was released after this movie. But was filmed in Bulgaria, and Tough is set in Baltimore. But on the end, we have a soundtrack, Move, by Leroy and Denoit, which I enjoyed that song, Move. I listened to the song. I'll give it a link, in the credits. But yeah, Wesley Snipes still did a good performance. Jacqueline Obrador, she was in A Memento of Apart as Detective Amy Knight, best friend and girlfriend of Dean Cage, still did a good job. Stuart Wilson played Sullivan. He was in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. I think he was also in Lethal Weapon 3. He was in those 2 sequels. Mark Shepard and King Coast, they're both, King Coast, he was in The Last Boy Scout, which I reviewed, The Last Boy Scout with Bruce Willis. And Mark Shepard was in Supernatural. He was Lucifer in or no, I forgot what character he played in Supernatural, but he was in Supernatural. He was also in The X-Files season 1, episode 13, Fire, or was episode 14? I think it was 13, 14. He was in right there. Devil Akinuyub Agajibei. He was in Legionnaire, which I reviewed last year, that movie, with Van Damme. And Vincent Liotta, he was also Detective Jay Miller. He was a partner of Amy Knight. I still know where did he left. Kim Thompson, she as Agent Kennedy, she had a small role when Amy Knight came with a gun and threatened her. You know, you're fucking my family, which I love that. Nicholas Aaron McNabb did a good job. And of course, there's a guy, you know, he was a comic, David Schofield as Dr. Collins. I forgot what happened to his character. Probably he was killed. But yeah, I like Unstoppable. So now I'll show you the DVD, which is the back, you know, which is in the diner scene when Wesley Snipes fights off McNabb. This is the scene when Wesley Snipes uses the sniper rifle and he shoots and destroys, you know, the helicopter, and shoots the marksman with a machine gun. This is where he hallucinated that he and his friend are tortured in Bosnia, and this is also the Agent June, you know, and Wesley Snipes behind him with, I think, was a knife or was a screwdriver that he was holding him. But we also do have the DVD, and if I put the DVD down, you know, we have Wesley Snipes in it. And yes, I'm a huge Wesley Snipes fan, and I absolutely like this film. I don't love this film. I mean, I don't love this film, but I like this film, and in my opinion, it's a really good movie. I mean, if you haven't seen Unstoppable, check it out. Yeah, there's this guy who also reviewed this film. I think it was 7 years ago. I'm not sure, or was a year ago, which I found him, and he keeps saying how bad this movie is, how trash this movie is. I disagree. In my opinion, Unstoppable is one of Wesley Snipes' movies that he did for direct-to-video, one of his best films, in my opinion. Because there's still a good action sequences in the film, like he's in this elevator shaft in the ceiling, and he opens the sprinklers and makes that water falls down, which I enjoyed that. There's still really good action moments, you know. Or he's in this forest, and how they filmed the night scenes, and I thought that even the cast, you know, Kim Coast as the villain did a good job, and Mark Shepard, they both did a good job as the villains, in my opinion. Yeah, Motorcycle, I agree. It's still a good movie. It's still a good direct-to-video movies. I've seen bad movies, but those people who are saying that's not a good one, or it's a campy or lame or blah blah blah, I disagree. In my opinion, it's still a good one, but that's just me. But that's my movie review on Unstoppable. It was really I thought that, I mean, before I leave, I have to say it's entertaining action film. I don't know if I'll put this one on my top 10 favorite Wesley Snipes list, but I still have to review this film because I enjoyed 2 years ago when I bought it, and I still enjoy this film. It's still a decent one. I mean, I think Wesley Snipes does not deserve to get crap and shit on it because he had tax evasion or because he was 3 years in prison. I mean, even rapists are not that longer in prison as Wesley Snipes was. And now no one, after the flop out, you know, of Blade Trinity, no one wants to cast him, which is really shame. I mean, he deserves to be cast. Thank God he still has a TV show. But yeah, Unstoppable is not a bad flick in my opinion. But yeah, that's my movie review on Unstoppable 2004. Not to be confused with Denzel Washington film. about Runaway Train. It's an action film. But more reviews for Wesley Snipes coming up. So thanks for watching and take care. And I'm out. Peace. Take care.